So you're thinking about the Donner DED-200 /N. You want that studio quality sound at home without breaking the bank /N. But here's what surprised me after testing it for a month. This thing is a total wolf in sheep's clothing /N. Therefore, you absolutely need to see this before you spend a single dollar /N for the best price. Click the link in the description /N. Now let's rip off that packaging /N. This review isn't about specs you can read on Amazon /N. It's about whether this little blue box can actually replace gear 10 times its price /N. I plugged it in expecting decent results /N. But the moment I recorded my first guitar track, my eyebrows attempted a space launch /N. Therefore, the first big question is, what's the real catch /N. Is the audio secretly compressed to oblivion? Is the build quality a joke /N. Stick around, because the truth is more fascinating than the marketing /N. Let's start with the unboxing, a ritual for gear nerds /N. You get the DED-200 itself, a USB-C cable, and the software download info /N. No power adapter, which is fine. It busks for power from your computer /N. The unit feels solid, not cheap plastic /N. Those knobs have a satisfying resistance, not the wiggly jellybean feel of some budget gear /N. But that initial impression is crucial /N. Therefore, we have to ask, does this robust exterior house a robust sound /N. Spoiler, it mostly does /N. And that's a bigger deal than you think /N. Here's the core promise: studio preamps, compression, EQ, and reverb in one $99 box /N. It's for podcasters, singers, guitarists, and streamers /N. On paper, it solves a dozen problems /N. But the moment you touch the style button, you realize this isn't a simple toy /N. Therefore, the first joke: my cat took one look at the glowing blue LEDs and now thinks it's a premium automated feeder /N. I haven't had the heart to tell him it only serves up crispy audio, not treats /N. Moving on /N. Diving into the sound is where the curiosity loops really open /N. The preamps are shockingly quiet /N. I compared it to a classic interface costing 4 times more /N. The gain needed for my dynamic microphone was nearly identical /N. But here's the twist: the onboard processing is a shortcut, not a crutch /N. Therefore, you can go from bedroom demo to almost pro with one knob turn /N. Is that cheating? Maybe /N. Do you care when your voice sounds podcast ready in seconds? Probably not /N. Let's talk about the compressor /N. For beginners, compression is black magic /N. The DED-200 makes it idiot-proof /N. Turn the knob, your levels even out /N. It's that simple /N. But does it sound like a $500 studio compressor /N. No, of course not /N. Therefore, it sounds like a $99 compressor that does 90% of the job perfectly /N. For live streams or quick edits, it's a lifesaver /N. The question is, will you outgrow it /N. We'll get to that /N. Now the N. 3 bands, low, mid, high /N. It's surgical for a device this size /N. I scooped the mids on my guitar and got instant metal tone /N. I boosted the highs on my voice for clarity /N. But the magic is in the style presets /N. Therefore, with one click, you're in warm tape or clear broadcast mode /N. It's instant gratification /N. Is that a good thing? For inspiration, absolutely /N. For learning audio fundamentals, not so much /N. It's like driving an automatic supercar, fast, fun, but you're not a mechanic /N. The reverb /N. This is the secret sauce /N. From small rooms to huge halls, the algorithms are genuinely usable /N. Not the tinny digital splash of bad plugins /N. But here's the contrarian snapback: using too much is the biggest beginner trap with this unit /N. Therefore, that epic hall setting can turn your thoughtful podcast into a lecture from Mount Olympus /N. Joke number 2: I used it on my coffee order, large dark roast, and it sounded like a command from the heavens Backslash n my barista was briefly terrified. Backslash n use it sparingly. Backslash n the guitar direct input is a separate conversation. Backslash n it takes high impedance signals beautifully. Backslash n plug in, and you have amp simulation, cabinet emulation, and all those effects. Backslash n, but can it replace a proper amp modeler like a quad cortex? Backslash n don't be ridiculous. Backslash n therefore, it can replace the tangled mess of cables when you just want to sketch an idea. Backslash n the cleans are sparkly, the distortions are serviceable. Backslash n for songwriting, it's a powerhouse. Backslash n for recording your final album masterpiece, you'll likely want specialized plugins. Backslash n so, who is this asterisk actually for? Backslash n let's rehook. Backslash n if you're a complete beginner, this is a near-perfect start. Backslash n it solves analysis paralysis. Backslash n if you're a podcaster needing a clean, processed sound fast, it's a no-brainer. Backslash n, but if you're a seasoned producer with a rack full of outboard gear, you'll laugh. Backslash n therefore, the DED-200 exists in a beautiful, specific niche, the prosumer gap. Backslash n it's for the person who knows good sound from bad but doesn't have a trust fund for gear. Backslash n that's a massive audience. Backslash n and Donner knows it. Backslash n we must address the software, the Donner DED-200 Backslash n it unlocks deeper editing, multiband compression, advanced EQ curves, de-esser. Backslash n this is where the value skyrockets. Backslash n you install it, and suddenly your $99 hardware has a software brain. Backslash n but the interface looks like it was designed by a very enthusiastic engineer. Backslash n therefore, there's a learning curve. Backslash n it's powerful but not intuitive. Backslash n is it worth wrestling with? For the price, unequivocally yes. Backslash n once you map your controls, it's a mini studio on your desk. Backslash n now, the build quality deep dive. Backslash n I've racked it, traveled with it, and plugged unplugged cables for weeks. Backslash n it shows no wear. Backslash n the jacks are tight. Backslash n the knobs haven't developed a wobble. Backslash n but it's not milled from a solid block of aluminum. Backslash n therefore, it feels like a well-made tool, not a luxury item. Backslash n for its price point, that's a win. Backslash n you're not afraid to use it. Backslash n and that matters more than you think. Backslash n gear you baby doesn't get work done. Backslash n let's talk about the elephant in the room. Latency. Backslash n when monitoring through the processed signal, it's near zero. Backslash n crucial for singers and guitarists. Backslash n but when using the software with other plugins in your DAW, that's a computer power issue. Backslash n therefore, on a modern machine, it's flawless. Backslash n on an older laptop, you might need to tweak buffer settings. Backslash n that's not the DED-200's fault, but it's a reality check. Backslash n the question is, does it work in the real world? In my setup, yes. Backslash n here comes joke 3. Backslash n my attempt to record a bass line resulted in a sound so fat, it demanded its own gravitational pull. Backslash n I'm pretty sure a small planetoid now orbits my studio monitor. Backslash n the low-end handling is, surprisingly, not muddy. Backslash n that's a technical win they don't advertise enough. Backslash n but there are compromises. Backslash n therefore, let's finally list the cons, the things you won't see in the glowing reviews. Backslash n first, the LCD screen is tiny. Backslash n you'll be squinting at abbreviations. Backslash n second, you cannot run the hardware processing and the full software suite simultaneously. Backslash n it's one or the other. Backslash n third, the power-only USB-C port means you need a separate audio interface if you want to use it just as a processor. Backslash n, but these are niche complaints for most users. Backslash n therefore, the biggest con might be its own success. It makes you want better microphones, better monitors. Backslash n it upgrades your ear, which is an expensive hobby to start. Backslash n consider yourself warned. Backslash n is the DED-200 future-proof. For a few years, yes. Backslash n the software will get updates. Backslash n the hardware is simple enough to last. Backslash n but technology moves fast. Backslash n therefore, in 2026, it's a king of value. /N by 2028, there might be a dead 300, /N that's the tech cycle, /N the resolution. Buy it for what it is today. The most capable $99 audio Swiss Army knife on the market. /N who should buy it? The aspiring podcaster, the singer-songwriter, the streamer wanting vocal clarity, the guitarist recording demos, /N who should avoid it? The analog purist, the professional with a fully kitted studio, someone who needs multiple simultaneous processed inputs. /N, but that's a small group. /N therefore, for most people watching this, it's a brilliant buy. /N, it lowers the barrier to great sound. /N final joke. /N after this review. The DED-200 asked for a raise and its own subscription to Mix Magazine *. /N the ambition on this thing is real. /N so, the final verdict. /N the Donner DED-200 isn't just good for the price. /N it's good. Period. /N it delivers on its wild promise with few caveats. /N but you needed this honest breakdown. /N therefore you now know exactly what you're getting. /N no hype. Just facts. /N if you're ready to transform your audio without emptying your wallet, this is your tool. /N for the absolute best price on Amazon right now, click the link in the description below. /N that's it. Stop thinking, start creating.